Let's begin. Arsenal, Reece Nelson. Academy product Nelson's commitment to Arsenal is admirable, especially considering his route to the starting lineup is blocked by elite-level youngsters Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. The 24-year-old only signed a new contract in the summer and has insisted that he has no plans to move elsewhere in the near future, but the reality is that he might have to leave if he wants to progress his career. Plenty of Prem clubs would be interested, with the likes of Palace constantly linked with him. He could easily find himself at another Premier League club, and if he wants to have some ambition and play some regular minutes, for me he should go to a club like Palace or a Brentford. But I think he needs to get out of Arsenal because he's just holding the bench. Aston Villa, Callum Chambers. Chambers hasn't done much during Aston Villa's superb campaign this year, featuring just 3 times in the Europa Conference League. The 28-year-old defender hasn't played a single minute in the Premier League, spending most of his time glued to Unai Emery's bench. Chambers still has 18 months left on his contract, but Emery may allow him to leave Villa on a free transfer, having arrived from Arsenal for nothing in January 2022. A loan move perhaps to a championship club is a strong possibility for the former England international, and I think his days as a Premier League player currently are numbered. He needs to go to the championship to get his career back on track. Bournemouth, Kiefer Moore. I felt bad because I think I've picked him for every single video I've done when I've done this type of video for Bournemouth, but he's the really obvious option. Solanke is absolutely killing it up top right now, and there's no chance unless he's injured Kiefer Moore is getting ahead of him, and even then I don't know if he starts. He's played just 152 minutes this season, and I think he needs to go in order to get regular football, as he's just not going to play at Bournemouth. Many championship clubs would take him as he's a proven championship striker and would do very well back in that league for me. Brentford, Ivan Toney. Now this might seem stupid to say that Brentford have to sell their best player in January, but hear me out. Toney has 18 months left on his deal, so this is their best opportunity to get big money for him. Clubs like Arsenal and Chelsea are desperate for a striker now and are clearly going to be looking at Toney in this window. If Brentford can charge a hefty fee, over 70 million, I think they should accept that. They would get less than that in the summer, and I think with him only having 12 months left on his deal then, and there's also no guarantee that Toney comes back from his ban and bang straight away. You know, he probably will, but what if he comes back, is slow and sluggish, takes a while to get back to his best, and then suddenly in the summer those clubs look at other options, and they have a sort of David Raya situation on their hands where they have to manoeuvre some dodgy loan deal to get rid of him. So, if and only if Brentford receive a hefty fee, they have to sell Ivan Toney. Brighton, Jakub Moder. Brighton were a tough one, as they've had a lot of injuries, and also they always have one random player who's never playing and then suddenly breaks in and becomes a £50 million player. So Moder could be that. But for me, Moder is promising. However, unfortunately, injuries may have ruined his chances of being that. He tore his ACL in 2022 and has only just returned from his absence. Now this may seem harsh getting rid of him straight after recovering, but he would need regular game time after that injury in order to get back to his best. And at Brighton they can't really afford to offer him that, so a move, maybe a loan, maybe even a sale on a permanent would be good for his career in order to help him get back to playing football once again. Burnley, Jack Cork. One of the only experienced players in the Burnley side, Jack Cork, but his time at the club is probably up. Age 34, Cork has season, despite being a crucial member of a side that got promoted last season, and his contract is running out in the summer, so surely his time is up now at Burnley. Cork proved last season though that he's still a class championship player, so he would be snapped up in a heartbeat by many championship clubs due to his ability and experience in helping teams get promoted. Chelsea, Trevor Chalobah. Chalobah hasn't featured at all for Chelsea this season due to injury, but it's been evident since the summer that he will be on the move in January. The defender has been deemed surplus to requirements despite the Blues' defensive injury problems, with the likes of Tottenham, Nottingham Forest and Bayern Munich previously linked last summer. A move abroad is good for him in my opinion. He's talented and could do similar things to what Tomori did at Milan. Maybe Bayern Munich if they go back in for him, working under his old boss Thomas Tuchel, who was the one who initially gave him his break in the first team. That seems like a really sensible move and makes the most sense. Crystal Palace, Rob Holding. You would think a defender who had just come from Arsenal would stroll straight into the Crystal Palace team, but has been a far cry from the reality for Holding. The former gunner is yet to make a single Premier League appearance for the South Londoners, with his sole outing coming in the Carabao Cup defeat to Man United. He still has 3 years left on his contract, having only just signed in the summer, but is almost certain to seek an exit in January if he wants to actually play some football. It's crazy to think he played more for Arsenal last season than Crystal Palace this year. So I think he needs maybe a loan for 6 months to get some minutes. I think a team like Luton or Sheffield would be good. That's if Palace are willing to sell to a kind of relegation rival. If not, then maybe a high-end championship side for Holding. Everton, Arno Danjuma. I'm kind of cheating here as he's not actually their player, but he's on loan. However, this move needs to be terminated. Danjuma has been something of an unlucky omen for Everton this season. They've won just one Premier League game with him in the team, but are bizarrely unbeaten when he's left on the bench, including a run of 5 straight victories. It's perhaps unsurprising then that he has struggled for minutes of late, and it would be hard to argue with his parent club Villarreal if he were to recall him from his loan and send him somewhere else. To be honest, I think they could do with his services as they are not doing the best for themselves, so just terminate it and send it back to Villarreal for me. Fulham, Fodo Ballatore. Same thing, not a sale but a loan termination. This one's very obvious. Fulham need to terminate the loan of Fodo Ballatore. He joined on deadline day on loan from AC Milan and hasn't started a single Premier League game. He's played only 48 minutes in the Premier League this season, so clearly is not rated by Marco Silva and is just wasting his career and Fulham's time with this loan. Terminate the loan and then Milan try and offload him to maybe a French side as he did well there previously. Liverpool, Kelleher. Time flies in football. It feels like yesterday that Kelleher was a promising youngster making impressive cameos in goal for Liverpool in the Europa League and Carabao Cup, but he's now 25 and has little chance of breaking into the starting 11 while Alisson is knocking about. The Irishman hasn't reached his peak, but he will know full well that he must be playing regular first-team football to fulfil his potential. He will doubtless have plenty of suitors in the new year and a decision on his hands. I think he's a Prem starting level keeper, although the problem is right now, not many need a keeper, so potentially a move to a championship side could be good. However, I doubt Liverpool will actually sell him though, as he's a great backup, but this is one of those moves where for his sake he needs to go. Luton, Luke Berry. A player who's risen through the leagues with Luton. Berry joined Luton when they were in League One and is now playing for them in the Prem, which is sensational. But when I say playing, barely. He's played just 26 year and hasn't been included in a lot of matchday squads. He's unfortunately not a Premier League level player, but that's fine, as he's had such a great journey. Having said that, he's still a great championship player though, and many would love to take him as a useful, experienced addition to their side. Man United, Jadon Sancho. Right, I could pick about 50 here, but I've gone for the most obvious one. Things have gone horribly wrong for £73 million man Sancho at United, and it would be a huge surprise if he is still at Old Trafford beyond January. Amid a torrid spell at the club, he remains exiled and at an impasse with manager Erik ten Hag since a social media outburst, with no sign of either side backing down. It has been suggested that the winger is hoping for a reprieve should ten Hag be sacked, but that seems unlikely for the time being. A move back to Dortmund could be good. I think the Bundesliga would be nice, as that's a league he knows well, and I think he just needs to move away from England. Manchester City, Calvin Phillips. Phillips's arrival at Man City from Leeds is already certain to rank among Pep Guardiola's worst ever transfer decisions. The midfielder has never really been given a chance, and the manager has suggested that he doesn't see where he fits, which raises questions of why he was signed in the first place. The England international is nailed on the leave in January. The only question is where, with a number of Premier League and European clubs supposedly interested in bringing him in, including Newcastle and Juventus. I think Serie A is perfect for him. Juventus or AC Milan would be great options. Similar to Sancho, get out of England and rebuild yourself, rebuild your reputation, and enjoy playing regular football away from the limelight once again. And he could maybe do stuff like Loftus-Cheek has done over at Milan. Newcastle, Matt Ritchie. Once the darling of Bournemouth's wings, Ritchie now finds himself sitting on Newcastle's bench, if he's lucky. The Scotland international, 34, has made 6 Premier League outings this season, but only because of Eddie Howe's huge injury list. Ritchie was left out of Newcastle's Champions League squad and will surely be allowed to join another club if one comes calling. His experience could be vital for one of the teams struggling for survival or a promotion hopeful in the Championship. If Newcastle can get any sort of fee for him in January, I'm sure they will get rid, and Ritchie may be hungry for one last hurrah playing regular first-team football. Nottingham Forest, Nuno Tavares. Now this isn't a sale, but another loan termination. Tavares had a productive loan spell at Marseille last season, but the Arsenal's left-back's experience at Forest has been far less enjoyable, and he hasn't played a minute since September. His deal at the City ground includes an option to buy, but he is all but guaranteed to return to Arsenal to be sent out once again, perhaps on a permanent basis this time. A sale to a Ligue 1 team would be good, as that's where he's had his best spell as a player so far. Sheffield United, Rise Norrington Davis. Not many who need to go at Sheffield, to be honest, as they need all the help they can get, but a player who just isn't playing at all and needs to go is Norrington Davis. The left wing back is a Welsh international and is still only 24, but has played basically no minutes this year. He did play a fair bit though in the Championship for Sheffield for 2 seasons and did well, earning his Welsh call-up as a result, but maybe the Prem is just too big a step right now. A move back down to the Championship would be good for him to get some regular minutes back under his belt. Spurs, Eric Dyer. You know your days are numbered when you're still being overlooked by your manager amid a defensive injury crisis. Despite Tottenham having no other recognised senior centre-backs available, long-serving Dyer has regularly found himself on the bench. Spurs coach Ange Postecoglou is said to be willing to cut ties with the England international in January, and he could be available for as little as £5 million, with his contract due to expire in the summer. For that price, a host of Premier League clubs would be interested, and he could do a good job for many mid-table sides. Fulham, Nottingham, Everton, maybe even a West Ham, all I think would be great moves for Eric Dyer. Speaking of West Ham, let's move on to Maxwell Cornet, a player who has failed to make an impression on David Moyes at West Ham. Cornet has found his appearances limited almost entirely to the Europa League this season. It seems logical that the Hammers will cut their losses on the man they signed for $18 million less than 18 months ago. However, his lack of game time has seen him miss out on a place in Ivory Coast squad for African Cup of Nations, which ironically means he may suddenly come in use. But I still think they should get rid of him and use that money elsewhere. A lot of clubs could do with him, maybe another Prem side such as Brentford, or a move back to France would be nice, but he's definitely a talented player who plenty would be interested in. And finally, Wolves, Sasa Kalajic. It's been a difficult time for Kalajic at Wolves. He joined last summer and was seen as the big money striker who would solve Wolves' goal-scoring problems. But he tore his ACL in pre-season, meaning he missed the entire of last season. He recovered this year and has been eased back in, getting some goals here and there in some substitute cameos, but clearly isn't trusted yet to be played week in, week out. And it's also unfortunate that now Hwang and Cunha are banging in the goals. It appears there will be no place for him in this Wolves team. There's a lot of talk a loan move to Frankfurt could happen, which makes sense. I don't think they should sell him, but a loan just so he can get minutes should do him good, and back to Germany is a nice move for him, so I like that Frankfurt loan a lot. Alright, there we go. Those are the players who need to move from your club. Let me know if you agree or disagree with those picks, and if you have enjoyed, please leave